Why women get bored in relationships. Most men think boredom in a relationship happens suddenly. They believe everything was fine, and then one day it just changed. The energy dropped. The excitement faded. The connection didn't feel the same. And from her perspective, it feels confusing because they didn't do anything wrong. But that's exactly where the misunderstanding begins. Because boredom is rarely about one big mistake. It's about small patterns that slowly change how the relationship feels over time. And most of these patterns are invisible in the beginning. At first, everything is effortless. There's curiosity. There's excitement. There's unpredictability. You're learning about each other. Every conversation feels new. Every interaction feels like progress. But over time, something subtle starts to shift. The unknown becomes known. The mystery fades. And what replaces it is familiarity. Now familiarity is not a bad thing. It creates comfort. It creates stability. It builds connection. But when familiarity becomes predictable in the wrong way, that's when boredom begins. Because attraction doesn't just need comfort. It also needs stimulation. It needs variation. It needs a sense that there's still something to discover. And when everything becomes predictable, that feeling disappears. One of the biggest reasons women get bored is emotional predictability. Not stability, but predictability. There's a difference. Stability is consistent character. Predictability is repetitive behavior. If she already knows exactly how you will respond in every situation, if your reactions never change, if your energy is always the same in a flat, repetitive way, then there's no emotional movement. And without movement, interest slowly drops. Another major reason is overavailability. At the beginning, availability it feels like interest, but when it becomes constant, it loses value. If you're always there, always replying, always ready, always adjusting your time around her, there's no space. No anticipation. No time to miss your presence. And without space, connection can feel heavy instead of exciting. Then there's the loss of individuality. This is one of the biggest mistakes men make without realizing it. They slowly start centering their life around the relationship. Their routines change. Their priorities shift. Their focus narrows. And over time, they stop being the same person they were at the beginning. The ambition, the independence, the direction, it starts to fade. And when that happens, attraction drops. Because attraction is not just about how you treat someone. It's about who you are outside of them. If your life becomes too centered around the relationship, you lose the very things that made you attractive in the first place. Another reason boredom happens is lack of emotional variation. If every interaction feels the same tone, same type of conversations, same responses, then nothing stands out anymore. There's no contrast. And contrast is what keeps things interesting. There has to be moments of lightness and depth, moments of humor and seriousness, moments of closeness and space. Without that variation, everything blends together. And when everything feels the same, it starts to feel flat. Now here's something most men don't expect. Trying too hard to keep things exciting can also create boredom, because forced excitement feels unnatural. If you're constantly trying to impress, constantly trying to create moments, constantly trying to maintain a certain energy, it becomes pressure, and pressure removes the natural flow of connection. Real attraction is not forced. It's allowed. It grows in a space where both people can exist without trying too hard. Now, let's look at how this plays out over time. At the beginning, you were focused on your life. You had your own rhythm. You had your own priorities. The relationship added to your life. It didn't replace it. But as time went on, you started adjusting more. You became more available, more predictable, more focused on maintaining the connection. And slowly, without realizing it, you removed the tension that created attraction. Because attraction needs balance. It needs both connection and independence, closeness and space, consistency and variation. When one side becomes too dominant, the other side disappears. And when that happens, boredom starts to grow. Now here's the key shift. Most men try to fix boredom by doing more. More attention, more messages, more effort, more trying, but that usually makes things worse. Because the problem is not lack of effort, it's lack of balance. So instead of adding more, you need to adjust. You need to bring back space, bring back individuality, bring back focus on your own life. Because when your life is full, your presence becomes more valuable. When your time is structured, your attention carries more weight. And when your energy is not constantly available, it becomes more appreciated. Now, this doesn't mean you become distant or cold. It means you become balanced. You engage without over-engaging. You connect without over-committing your entire focus. You remain present without losing yourself. And that balance is what keeps attraction alive over time. At the end of the day, boredom is not something that just appears out of nowhere, and it's not something that can be fixed by reacting emotionally or trying to force things back to how they used to be. It is usually the result of small shifts that happen over time, shifts in behavior, in focus, in energy, and in how the relationship is balanced. Because what creates attraction in the beginning is not just effort. It's the combination of connection and independence. It's the fact that both people have their own lives, their own direction, their own sense of self while still choosing to come together. And when that balance is lost, when everything becomes centered only around the relationship, something important starts to fade. When there is no space, there is nothing to look forward to. When there is no variation, there is nothing new to experience. When there is no individuality, there is nothing to rediscover. And over time, even a strong connection can start to feel routine, not because the feelings disappeared, but because the environment around those feelings stopped supporting them. This is why trying to fix boredom with more attention, more messages, or more effort often does the opposite of what you expect. Because the issue is not that there isn't enough happening, it's that everything is happening in the same way, at the same pace, with no contrast. And without contrast, everything starts to feel the same. So the real shift is not about doing more, it's about doing things differently. It's about bringing back structure into your life. It's about focusing on your own growth, your own priorities, your own direction. Not as a tactic, not as a way to get a reaction, but as a way to rebuild your foundation. Because when your life is full outside of the relationship, your presence inside it becomes more valuable. Your time becomes more intentional. Your energy becomes more balanced. And instead of feeling like you're always there, always available, always predictable, you become someone who adds to the experience rather than someone who is constantly trying to maintain it. And this is where something important happens. The dynamic shifts naturally. There is more space to miss each other. There is more room for curiosity. There is more variation in how you interact. And that variation is what keeps things from becoming flat. It's also important to understand that not every situation can be reversed, and that's something many people try to avoid. Sometimes, boredom reveals a deeper incompatibility. Sometimes it shows that the connection was built on temporary excitement rather than long-term alignment. And in those cases, no amount of effort will bring back what was never stable to begin with. But even in that situation, there is value, because it gives you clarity. It allows you to step out of something that no longer grows and redirect your focus towards something that does. And that is always better than staying in a situation that slowly drains energy without direction. In the end, what keeps attraction alive is not constant excitement, and it's not constant effort. It's balance. It's knowing how to be present without losing yourself. It's knowing how to create connection without removing space. It's knowing how to remain consistent in who you are while still allowing variation in how the relationship feels. Because when that balance exists, attraction doesn't need to be forced. It doesn't need to be chased. It continues naturally, supported by the structure you've built around it. And when you understand that, you stop reacting to boredom as a problem that needs immediate fixing. You start seeing it as a signal that something in the balance has shifted and something needs to be realigned. And once you realign it the right way, you don't just bring back attraction. You create a situation where it can actually last.
Follow for more if you want to understand women better.